everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Lara Trump Wanted for Questioning. Can't wait to see what we got today. Let's see. Question number 1. Why did you leave the RNC? God bless you. Thank you. Right back at you. You know, it was sort of a strangely hard decision. I'll be honest, when I first was presented with the idea of running for co-chair of the RNC, I was not into it. I immediately said no. I knew the gravity of this election. I knew how consequential this election would be, and I knew how much work would be in store for whoever the person was who ended up in the position of co-chair of the RNC. Ultimately, I decided to run for it and was so honored to be elected unanimously by the 168 RNC committee members, because I really never wanted to look back and say, what if? I did it for my kids, I did it for the future of America, and I did it to ensure that I left nothing on the line, for this election. I felt like this was the role I had to play, and so was honored to do it. But with that said, I sort of felt like the job that I had gone to the RNC to do was done. I never intended on being there long term, initially never intended on being there at all, to be honest. And I really made a goal of winning the White House, making sure we had a majority in the House and the Senate. And that's exactly what we got. We had an overwhelming win, of course, for Donald Trump, and we still have a majority in the House and now have a majority in the Senate after this election. So I kind of felt like everything that I had to offer for now was offered. I feel like we got things set up properly in terms of election integrity. Michael Whatley and I, did something that I think probably should have been done before. We did it this election, and hopefully we restored the trust of the American people in our electoral process. We put together this incredible election integrity operation. We encouraged people to get out and vote early for the first time ever from the Republican Party. We partnered with our great grassroots folks out there, like Turning Point, like Scott Pressler's Early Vote Action. We want to be partners with people out there who have the same goals, and I don't think the RNC should be shy about that. So we did make some great changes. I felt like they were implemented, and Michael Whatley, the chairman, is still going to remain there. He knows exactly what needs to happen, and it felt like the right time for me to step away, move on to other things. But I'll be really honest, I was very, very sad the last day of the last RNC meeting I went to. It was just before the inauguration, and it was sort of incredible to be in this role during this time. There were a lot of people who weren't sure that I was the right choice for that role. There were a lot of naysayers. There were a lot of people who were very critical of me. I haven't heard them say very much. So I'm going to take that as that I did a good job in this position. But it was an honor, and it's something that I'm incredibly proud of. It was a very, very busy, very crazy 8 months leading up to Election Day, but I had an awesome team at the RNC, an awesome partner in Michael Whatley, and obviously took every single cue from Donald Trump, my father-in-law, our 45th, 47th president, and of course, the leader of our party. So felt like the right time. But look, I'm gone in terms of that position. I am never leaving. So everybody's got to deal with me for a long time to come, and anything anybody over there ever needs, they know. Just a phone call away. So I know the Democrats will be very excited to hear that I'm not going anywhere. Okay. Next question. Who designed your MAGA necklace and where can we get it? Oh, I'm glad you liked it. Well, there are two that I have worn. One of them was Carrie Prejean sent to me, and I'm not sure if she makes them or she knows someone who makes them, but look her up online. Former Miss California, Carrie Prejean Baller. You can look her up online and find her stuff. I also wear a lot by Right Side Jewelry, and I think their website is the rightsidejewelry.com. They have the fight necklaces. They have 1776 necklaces. They have the FJB necklaces, bracelets, all those sorts of things, earrings. So you can go check all those out. And then I've worn another one recently, a MAGA necklace that someone had made for me. Friends of ours from New York. They actually live in Connecticut technically, but yeah, so I've got MAGA necklaces coming out of my ears and I love it. And I love to wear them as much as possible. So thank you for noticing. Next question. Does the fake news not realize that your time at the RNC wasn't your first political job? No, they don't. I was on with, I think, Laura Ingraham last week on Fox, and I was asked about Donald Trump having to actually sign a presidential memorandum, which is crazy that he had to do this, to say that the only reason we should be hiring people, at least as far as the federal government is concerned, is based on their qualifications, based on merit, and their competence for that job. Yeah, that's where we are in this country right now, that we're having to do those things. But we've had so much crazy DEI hiring and hiring just to meet quotas that it's really asinine, quite frankly. We should always want the best person for the job, and that should be the only reason anybody's hired. So there are a lot of these losers out there who got really out of sorts over my answer and were like, oh, the only reason Lara Trump was co-chair of the RNC is because of her father-in-law. Well, yeah, okay, of course I have the last name Trump, and of course that's how I started in this orbit. But let's not forget, I worked in his 2016 campaign. I worked as a senior advisor for his 2020 campaign. And by the way, that job started in 2017, just after he was inaugurated. So I had many years there doing that. I would argue that actually, out of most people who work in politics, I've had more experience in presidential campaigns than most political pundits ever will. So I say that very kindly to all the trolls and the losers out there who somehow are like, oh, the irony of her statement. No irony. And by the way, go ahead and check out the results. How'd those turn out for everybody? Donald Trump's the 47th president. 312 electoral votes. The popular vote, first time a Republican's done that in 20 years. Okay? All 7 swing states. So I don't know. Maybe you guys who think that it was nepotism may want to take a look at the results. And I'll also add to that Donald Trump can't just place somebody in that position. You're voted on by, again, the 168 members of the Republican National Committee. So I appreciate all the haters out there, but y'all are just going to have to keep hating. Sorry. For years, customers have been asking if MyPillow sells cross necklaces like the one Mike Lindell proudly wears every day. Well, guess what? You're in luck. They are excited to announce that Mike has partnered with a jeweler right here in the USA to create beautiful sterling silver My Crosses. You can save 30% today using promo code Trump at mypillow.com and click on the radio podcast square or call 800-624-3945 and be sure to use promo code Trump. You can choose from the women's or men's style and make sure you do it soon because this amazing offer won't last long. Just go to mypillow.com and click on the radio podcast square or call 800-624-3945 and use promo code Trump. Next question. Why do you think some people dislike Trump so much? It's almost one of these things like they know that he's not the bad guy that they try to make him out to be. It's like, to me, whenever there's like the pretty girl who kind of comes into the group and all the girls immediately hate her, Donald Trump is kind of a little bit like that. He's like this cool guy who really had no business in politics before and was like, I don't know, I'll give it a shot. I'll run for president. We'll see what happens. And he won. And it irritates all these people who have made their life work about studying the nuance of this and that and the other. And Donald Trump's like, don't really care. I'm just going to do what I know is right. I'm going to speak my mind. I'm going to do things differently. I'm not going to play these games that you guys are playing. I'm doing it my own way. And they're like, wow, wait a minute. He can't do that. It's got to be this way. They don't like that. Don't like when somebody comes in and kind of messes up their personal apple cart. I can only imagine that that's part of it. And maybe there's some jealousy. Like I said, the pretty girl comes in. All the girls are like, she's the worst. She sucks. No. Donald Trump is doing things for this country that no one else could possibly do. He knows what he has to do for the next 4 years. He knows how to make this country better for the American people. He knows how to give us peace through strength. He knows how to close the border, how to give us our energy independence, all the things. He understands what he needs to do. So you guys can hate, you can be jealous, you can be nasty. He doesn't really care. He's going to keep doing the job the American people hired him to do on November 5th. So yeah, that's the only reason. How could you not like this man? He's also one of the funniest people I've ever met. One of the funniest, greatest sense of humor, and thank God for that, because otherwise, the things that he's gone through, this guy without a good sense of humor, I don't know how you make it, to be honest with you. I wish more people got to see that side of him, because he is a very fun, very likable person. Great person to just like sit down and have dinner with. Donald Trump. If it's not on your bucket list, it probably should be. Okay, next question. Any rumbling or rumors on removing Newsom as governor in California? Well, they tried to recall him, Although after what's gone down, maybe that should happen again. I don't know. As far as I'm concerned, I cannot see how Gavin Newsom has a political career in his future. I don't know how you come back from this. The fires were so devastating in LA, and you can look, there are a lot of factors that contributed to them, but there was certainly poor forest management. There were reservoirs that weren't full. You had to have Donald Trump come in to tell Karen Bass to let people go back to their properties, to say that people should start being able to clean up and restore their lives immediately, not waiting like 18 months or something crazy that they wanted them to do out there. I don't know. I don't know how he recovers from this. So maybe you guys out in California need to think about, maybe you want to recall him again. I don't know. Here's what I can tell you is that the next person you guys elect as a governor, I hope you really look at the things they want to do. I hope you really dig deep and look farther than the hair and the aviator glasses. Because I don't know. I don't know what else people were singing Gavin Newsom. And by the way, don't forget that it wasn't long ago that this guy was, I'm going to say like a year ago, people were like, I don't know, are they going to take Joe Biden out and plug Gavin Newsom in as the candidate for the Democrats? Remember that? That was like a year ago. We were talking about that. Man, how the great have fallen. I don't know that he was ever that great, but yeah, it's kind of tough to see how he hangs on after this. I've predicted it before on this show and others. I'm going to predict that the next governor of the state of California will be a Republican. I think hopefully people have had it out there. Hopefully you guys are starting to see the light out there if you haven't already. Talk to your friends. Start engaging with people. I think, the common sense nature of the conservatives right now, the Republican Party, that's what people want. You want common sense. Common sense would dictate that if you live in a place where you have these out of control forest fires and wildfires, you might want to do some forest management. You might want to make sure that you're not cutting the budget of the fire departments in LA. I don't know. You might want to make sure that when the fire, crews pull up to a fire hydrant, there's water they can get to fight the fires. I get that you got the winds and the whole thing, but there was a lot that could have gone into preparedness to ensure that under these circumstances, you could at least give people a fighting chance. They didn't have a chance. They didn't have any water. It's crazy. Donald Trump finally got the military out there to turn the water on. Thanks, Donald Trump, for that. So I don't know. I don't know what happens to Gavin Newsom. I haven't heard any rumblings or rumors, as you asked, but I think that's just pretty obvious. People are sort of done with him out there in California. Okay. Final question. Which bucket list item do you most want to check off this year? That's a good one. It's an interesting year. It's an exciting year. A year of change, a lot going on. I've talked about this before. Maybe there are two things that I'd like to do. One of them is skydiving. I know, it's kind of crazy. I'm like sort of terrified to do it, but that's why I think I need to do it. And I know a lot of people have done it. You don't do anything. You just jump out of the airplane and like, that's it. Then you got to hope that the parachute opens. That's where it kind of gets a little hairy for me. I'm like, I don't know. I got 2 kids. I got a lot of people counting on me. 2 kids. God knows how many dogs at my house at this point. They just kind of rotate in and out. 3 permanent, almost always 4 there in some way. So that's one of them. Certainly I'd like to skydive, jump out of an airplane, say I did it, check it off the list. People say it changes your life. Actually, I'm going to give you 3 things. That one, I'm going to say taking the original honeymoon trip that Eric and I were supposed to take before I broke both my wrists on a horse, to Africa. We just had our 10-year wedding anniversary on November 8th. Happy anniversary, honey. And so I think I would like to do that. And I also want to make sure that I take like some time to really relax at some point this year. I'm the worst at that. I don't know that that's a bucket list item. It's just something that people are like, I hope you're taking some time for you. And I'm like, I'm not. It's just, life happens and things are busy and things are moving. And yeah, we had the election and then we had the inauguration and now we're on the other side of it. But it still feels like life is just at this crazy pace. But maybe everybody feels like that. So I'm going to try to do a better job this year, taking some time for me. All right, that's going to do it for us for this episode of Lara Trump Wanted for Questioning. Send us more questions, post under any of our social media under this episode, and we will see you back here next time for more of Lara Trump Wanted for Questioning. Nothing is worse than being on a phone call that drops. Nothing is worse than trying to text someone and you can't reach them because your phone is out of service range. And nothing is worse than supporting these major corporations and companies who don't support us. That is why I love Patriot Mobile. They are America's only Christian conservative wireless network. They use every cell tower out there available to all networks so that they have the greatest 4G and 5G coverage nationwide. And they support the causes that are important to us as conservatives. If you go today to patriotmobile.com/Lara Trump and use the promo code Trump, you will get free activation today. Again, that is patriotmobile.com/Lara Trump. The promo code is Trump for free activation so that you can get a great cell plan and feel good about doing it.